What if the profession of teaching is doomed to die? Who wrote this? Was it a student or a teacher? Sounds dramatic, doesn't it? All that's missing now is for me to show you an absurd slide with statistics about how many teaching professions have died in the last 5 minutes. Good thing is that these stats don't exist. Yet. Don't worry. This envelope contained the answer to the question on the slide. So what was the point of preparing a TED Talk that seems to have no answer? It's illogical. Are you curious to get the answers? Oh, well, we'll get to them. But first, let me tell you a story. In the first grade, I was struggling with English. No, those aren't my words. These are the words of my teacher. Her famous quotes are here. Because you're left-handed, English is not for you. Nadia succeeds in English, but you are not Nadia. Sit down. Wrong pronunciation, wrong word. Look, I'm standing here now, and I am still left-handed, still not Nadia, and still sometimes have wrong pronunciation, like now. But I'm standing here because this terrible story has a not terrible continuation. In this story, there was a supporting hand, the hand of my mother, which led me to another teacher. My mother told me something I'll never forget. Not every person who has a teaching diploma is a real teacher. You can have a chef's diploma and cook tasteless food, or you can have a construction diploma and build a house that collapses. My mom saved me from a teacher who treated me like a failure, like a fish being told it had to climb a tree. What am I talking about? About the problem in education, which turns out was also discussed by Einstein, who lived in 19th century. Einstein said, "Everyone is a genius. But if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will live its entire life believing it's stupid." In reality, there is a fish that can climb trees, and Einstein probably didn't know about that. It's the anabas fish, and there are very few of them. "You are not Nadia" sounded like you are not an anabas. Has anything really changed since Einstein's time? Modern education caters to an imaginary idea of a universal student who is good at everything. It's 2025, but fish students are still forced to climb trees, calling it useful learning and ignoring the fish's need to swim in the water. Well, what's the point of a student being a talented actor if they didn't pass the math test perfectly? What's the difference if the idea about cancer treatment is burned in the head of a young biologist if they haven't learned a poem? Why do you think educational system wants to create such universal students? Why is everyone supposed to be like Nadia? Why does geography teacher teach only geography and not English or literature? Right now, in 10th grade, I study 13 core subjects. So I'm expected not only to climb trees, but to climb 13 different types of trees. But in 2027, 10th graders we'll study only 7 subjects. This is what the new educational reform by Ministry of Education and Science promises us. But will this reform influence teachers' perspectives on the requirements for student universality? These are general questions that seem to lead nowhere, and I like to answer personally, not by blaming the whole world. So, one more story. It was a literature lesson, and I was not 6 like in English, but 16. So 10 years later, I'm answering the question, The Philosophy of Ivan Franko, describing the philosophical use of this famous figure, especially my favorite theory of happiness. But suddenly, boom! My teacher interrupts me. Wrong! You must focus on the dates and awards he received, because only this represents his philosophy. Crazy situation, isn't it? This teacher wasn't interested in my own thoughts, but rather in a standardized answer based on dry facts. What did I feel? I was experiencing a loss. The loss of my purpose to continue going to the lessons. The loss of faith in good education and future. Attention! Even while I speak negatively about the behavior of some teachers, I want my speech to be filled with gratitude for the real teachers. There are many in my life, and thanks to them, I got here. And not only here, teachers who did not make me a fish that lives its entire life believing it's foolish. I have a few suggestions on how we can survive in this educational system. Value yourself as a fish swimming in the water, and if you want, try yourself as a fish climbing trees. It's totally okay to be a simple fish, and it's okay to be an anabas too. But if they tell you that you're a bad student because you love learning languages but you don't understand physics, you must choose not to believe that you are bad only because of this. Your value is not based on how well you match the universal student version. The system prays one path. Good grades plus uni plus job plus death. But there's so many ways to succeed. There's so many ways to swim in your own ocean. So understand your own learning style. Build a mini support squad. Maybe it makes sense that a school of fish is called a school of fish. Find someone who gets you or explain unclear material. You don't need everyone to understand, just one person who will take your hand at the right time. And you can become that mentor for someone else as well. It doesn't matter if you're 6, 16 or 106. Speak up and write. Tell others. Post on social media about great teachers. And don't stay silent about those who traumatized you. And right now, I want to open this envelope and read the answer to the question, what if the profession of teaching is doomed to die? Finally, this moment has come. Ready? Just a blank sheet of paper? Does anyone have a pen? So, take it now and write a reflective response on this question. Education is created by everyone and for everyone. Therefore, your voice must be heard. May this be a letter to the future. We know how to write, right? Thanks to the teachers who taught us this. So take a moment right now and think about the teacher who changed your life.